Hello out there everyone, my name is Chris, also known as CV, and welcome to my channel. In this video I'm responding to an interview slash dialogue I watched earlier today here on YouTube. The topic was, well, mostly or somewhat about pro-life activism, and then also in recognizing sin within ourselves, and then also versus the sin that we see around us. And also a mention about Dr. Jordan Peterson, who is a now well-known psychologist, lecturer, and intellectual. He's become very famous in recent years. Some discussion about Peterson's perspective on the subject of sin, or how it relates to that, confronting our sin and our dark side. So I decided to make this video to address that because although I really enjoyed the interview, and it was really helpful, I did see something I think needs to be clarified. And if you're wondering, okay, where's Chris going with all this? I'm hoping by the end of this video it'll make a lot more sense. And that said, let's go ahead and dive into the topic. And I begin with a comment from the video, and that will be linked below. Quote, part of confronting the evil outside of us involves confronting the evil inside of us, end quote. And this quote is from Leela Rose during her appearance today on Matt Fradd's YouTube channel, Pints with Aquinas. Leela is a fellow Catholic and the author of the book Fighting for Life, which explains how to use our wounded souls as a force for change, and how Leela's life experiences, including her work as a pro-life activist, helped her transform her own life and walk with God. The video clip from that exchange, and again, which will be linked below, in that clip, Leela talks with Matt Fradd about facing our own wicked nature so that we can better deal with evil around us. Leela and Matt related this to the book 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. In that book, rule number 6 is set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. Leela then went on to explain a problem, one that has a stronghold on Western society, and I absolutely agree with Leela on this. We've become so focused on being independent and sweepingly shunning dependence as a weakness, we have lost sight of how much we all crucially depend on each other in just about every area of life, and that our primary focus should be to embrace fully God's will for us. However, the conversation took a slight left turn when Leela called out Jordan Peterson on his views about stridently setting your house in order. Namely, it included an assumption about Peterson's view on independence, that Peterson thinks we should be fiercely independent. And given that, I'm going to give my perspective on this and hopefully help clarify Peterson's position on independence, though I'm sure he is more than capable of doing that himself. And who knows, he may even be a guest someday on Pints with Aquinas, or at least I hope so. Also, part of the reason I decided to make this video is I've been using a similar approach to Peterson in introducing seekers to the Bible, drawing on my own background in psychology as well, and that Peterson and I have some of the same influences, who also studied what's called religious phenomenology. My aim has been to help people see the scores of raw, deeply human stories throughout the Bible, that we all can relate to the Bible and how it teaches us, and to quote Leela Rose again, that, quote, confronting the evil outside of us involves confronting the evil inside of us. Having said that, here are my thoughts. Although Leela Rose has a superb understanding of facing our own evil versus evils we witness, and that almost nobody is entirely self-sufficient, she is taking Jordan Peterson's clean up your room first a bit out of context. Peterson is not suggesting at all that people should have a purely, pull up your bootstraps mentality about life, including not needing to depend on others, at all. That is more of a trope perpetuated by relationship experts who have spent the past 30 years shouting from the rooftops that codependency is dangerous, and that if you are not hyper-independent, someone is going to swoop in and strip you of your identity, forcing you into a lifelong existential crisis, which has now been used as a weapon against marriage and, monogamous relationships. And yes, there is a lot to unpack about, with that subject. Peterson's Clean Up Your Room First, and throughout his entire book, 12 Rules for Life, is about understanding why individual sovereignty is a necessary right. Peterson even alludes to it as a divine right in his lecture series on the Bible, which you can find at his channel, and I'll have a link to his channel below as well as not falling prey to group identity movements that subjugate individual rights or ideologies that could easily devolve into tyrannical leadership. If you read his books and watch his videos, he's clearly not a fan of group identity politics, authoritarian regimes, and anything that hints of destroying human rights. In other words, he's also thinking big picture as it pertains to human social evolution. Moreover, he strongly supports societies finding the healthiest ways to depend on each other and cooperate in peace. Not to say that Peterson isn't wrong on any topic. We can see that some of his insight on theology needs improvement. But he also doesn't claim to take a theological approach to understanding human behavior. He is a psychologist. Therefore, while his approach in some topics may seem a little scattered, or may not fit exactly with how we as Catholics approach certain topics, he does recognize that he is not a know-it-all and is open to having his mind changed. And that shows he wants engaging discussions and to be able to depend on others for guidance. Now, tying this back to Leela's point about the evil we face within ourselves, there again is something that Peterson and depth psychologists such as Carl Jung, Peterson has studied extensively. That is, cultures throughout the world have stories / myths that explain how to die to your wicked self so that you may be reborn out of the darkness and into the light. And sort of metaphorically speaking, it is the slaying of the dragons, that motif found in many ancient myths. Now we just need to get Peterson to see that Christ is the supreme savior of our wickedness, that he gave us out of love for us the means to conquer the evil, our evil within, through his death and resurrection for us all. Call it the ultimate story that ties all other stories and life lessons together. And looking through that lens, we much better understand the sanctity of life, and therefore why we Catholics should be 100% pro-life. Hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to leave comments. Please, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. Also, you're welcome to email me, trcatholic@gmail.com. Again, trcatholic@gmail.com. And we will see you at the next video. God bless.